This is Mind Through Culture with another video, and this is going to be part one of our series on power. In today's video, we are going to talk about two things. What is power, and why should power matter to you? First, what is power? According to Robert Greene's 1998 bestseller, The 48 Laws of Power, power is the degree of control you have over circumstances in your life and the actions of the people around you. Power is simply your degree of control over your life. That includes your control over your actions and internal state, but also your degree of control of the world around you. Now let's talk about what power is not, so we can clarify a few misconceptions about power. Firstly, power is not inherently negative. Power often carries negative connotations, and many view it as inherently evil. However, power is neutral. It is simply influence and control. Power is not innately good or bad. For example, Adolf Hitler was incredibly powerful, but so was Martin Luther King Jr. Both were incredibly strategic and tactical operators of the game of power. One person utilized their influence to insurrect genocide, while the other used it to end segregation in America. The key point here is that while power can be used for negative purposes, it is not inherently negative. It is a neutral force that can be used for any means by whoever holds it. The second major misconception is that power exists only on a large scale, that power is relevant only to celebrities, politicians, or cultural leaders. This is false. There is no such thing as a person or a group who do not want power. If you have ever wanted to take action to feel happy, healthy, or confident, that is you attempting to have power in your internal world. If you ever tried to get a boyfriend or a girlfriend, try to get into a good college, make more money, wanted to be popular amongst your social circle, these are attempts to have power. If you are someone who has wanted power, which if we're being honest, should be everyone listening to this, here's the news. It's okay. Every single person wants power to some degree. It is a part of human nature. In fact, your presence here today is a testament to the role of power throughout history. All of us alive today are products of natural selections, descendants of those who, over thousands of years, survived and thrived by effectively asserting power over their environment and within their communities. We as humans are apex predators. We are the most powerful species. Amongst all of the humans who existed throughout history, those who are alive today are descended from the humans who were the most powerful, who were able to gain power within their tribe to survive and reproduce. In other words, power is in our DNA. It is a part of being human. That is our definition of power. At its essence, we believe power is simply the level of control you have over your life. Power is not inherently evil. It is a neutral force that can be used for any means, good or bad. Power is not something that applies only to public figures. It is something that is desired by every normal person because it is simply a desire to have control over your life and your environment. Now that we have defined power, let's get into why understanding power is relevant to you. Understanding power and the laws of power is essential because of a fundamental truth about human nature. People have egos. Your boss, your teacher, your students, your friends, and your parents all possess egos. With these egos come desires, and when everyone has desires, many of them inevitably compete with one another. When there are so many desires competing against one another, it creates the game of power. The game of power is simply the tactics people enact so that they can get what they want in a world with so many competing desires. The laws of power are a roadmap for understanding these tactics. Here is Robert Greene, the author of the 48 Laws of Power, explaining why understanding the laws of power is so important.
Why should you read this book? Well, if you don't want a life full of pain and misery, you want to read this book. The reason is, power is this kind of weird game that goes on in the world. It has its own rules, its own conventions, its own laws, but nobody talks about them. Nobody writes about them. And you're kind of thrown out into the world when you're 23 years old, and suddenly or 22, and suddenly you discover that you're doing all of the wrong things, and that you're talking too much, you're trying too hard to make people insecure, you're being too naive, you're too in people's faces, you're trusting people too much, on and on. You make all of these mistakes, and it's painful. It costs you years of emotional trauma. You get fired, you don't know why you got fired. You get in a fight with a colleague, you don't know why, and it's bitter. You hire a terrible business partner who ends up stealing your company. On and on and on and on and on. These things are real. They are not imagined. They're not something in a television show. It is something going on every single day in every office in America and in the world, right? But nobody tells you how to navigate this thing. This book is there. It's like a straight shot of whiskey. I'm not covering things up. I'm not bullshitting with you. I'm not trying to soft pedal them and make everything look nice and pleasant. I'm giving you the world straight as it is. You might think when you first look at the book it's a bit frightening. Crush your enemy totally. I don't have any enemies. I don't want to crush them. I'm a nice guy. That's fine. It's not about you going out and using all of these laws. A lot of it is about defense. Knowing that there are malevolent, aggressive, toxic people out there. Here's how you defend yourself. Here are the rules of combat, the rules of the game, so you don't violate them, so you don't make a mess of all of the games that are being played and set yourself back years, even decades in your life. How to navigate more easily the power environment. Because power is something that's part of human nature. There's no such thing as a group of people who don't want power. All right? So that's why you need to read the book.
To answer the question of why is power relevant to you, it is because the laws of power are a part of human nature. As Greene illustrates through his examples, not understanding these laws can lead to unnecessary mistakes. Without the ability to handle people effectively, you might miss out on promotions, get fired, or be shunned by friends. A misunderstanding of the laws of power can lead to unnecessary conflict and pain. An understanding of the laws of power will allow you to avoid these pitfalls. It will allow you to navigate human nature and the egos that come with it gracefully. That concludes the introductory episode of our series on power. Today we covered two main points: what power is and why it is relevant to you. In our next episode, we will dive deeper into the laws number 1 through number 8 of the 48 Laws of Power. You might be wondering why we're creating this series and why you should watch it. The reason we made this series is that I find power dynamics endlessly fascinating, and I believe the information we're sharing is both accurate and valuable to our audience. The reason you should watch it is this series aims to provide a condensed version of the 48 Laws of Power. While it's an incredible book, it is lengthy and dense at times, and the examples used are predominantly historical. Our series will contrast that by offering a condensed version that uses modern and pop culture examples rather than the niche historical ones found in the original text. Let us know in the comments if you're excited about the continuation of this series.